Hello, you have reached Rich with Unlimited Cards. If you have arrived here, you're well off the beaten path. I am a nobody. So I just had a buyer reach out to me on TCG Player, and they had bought a 10-cent card. Okay, of course they paid the shipping on it, which is like $1.31 or whatever. And they reached out to me. It was like a couple weeks after the estimated delivery date, and asked me if I had shipped this with tracking. A 10-cent card. So it got me thinking. Figured I'd make a video about it. For those of the small people that have watched me on this channel, which I don't even know if I have reoccurring people viewing. Maybe it's just like one or two random people who watch me. I am a player from the 1990s in Magic the Gathering and Pokemon too. I played Pokemon as well when I was a kid. It was a glorious thing. No, I'm not an alpha beta, someone from way back then. But I came in the Urza block, right? So a few years into it. I actually started with Pokemon. My cousins were like, hey, there's this game called Magic. It's really great, In fact, Look at this. There you go. Right up there. This was the first deck that I ever bought. Well, I had my mom buy it for me, right? I'm a young kid. I'm not making money. This is the first deck that my mom bought for me that I ever owned. Urza Saga, special delivery. Red and green. Red and green, my favorite colors. There's something to the color pie. If you're interested in it, look into it. It's based off of like psychology and different traits of people. But special delivery. I love red and green. Gruel, I guess they call it nowadays. Whenever I look at this deck, I remember just kind of what it was like when we were young. I don't even know. Did people even ship cards back then? Maybe. I mean, I was too stupid. I was too young, right? You go to the store, you buy a pack, you buy a box, you buy the cards in the store. And the stores back then are like musty little, they're a mess. It was a beautiful process to go to a store with Magic cards. Every time I went to the mall or whatever, I would say, hey, let's go to the Magic store. That was the thing. That's what you were into. That's what you were excited about, right? And I don't even know if they shipped cards back then. And then there was probably like a period of time where people would probably just stick a card in an envelope and send it to you when shipping of cards was like a big thing, right? That probably grew as the internet grew. When I was buying here, the internet was nothing. It was literally AOL. You would get all these sounds that would come through your home phone, right? Oh, man, get a drink. You get these sounds that come through your home phone. There are no cell phones, right? It's not a thing. The iPod had just come out during these kind of years. And it was huge and clunky. You had the scroll. You had the Zune. Did anybody remember the Zune? And you're not using some people probably use it to buy different things, but it's just so much better to just go to a store. and have the experience. The internet was just not the easiest thing to do at the time. It was just such a different feel. It was about the game. It was about the playability. It's about the cards that you get, not like the value and things like that. And we would play with janky cards. I mean, sleeves were not a thing back then. We would literally mash the cards together as we're shuffling the decks. You know, that's why it's so hard to find something like this in minty or sealed. Because back then, there wasn't this whole thing about just like holding on to product. I bet there was a couple people out there that were doing it, but most people did not just hold on to sealed product, have them in their closets or their storage or wherever the hell they put these things. And they were just opened and used, and you take the cards out and you mash them together, right? There were like all the edges were worn. It's so hard to find near mint stuff in this kind of era and above to like alpha or beta. It was such a different time. Now, we go to the store for the experience, right? Nowadays, what people do, and this isn't like a rant. This isn't like an old guy rant. I'll get to the kind of like the point of this video here in just a second. This isn't an old guy rant of like, oh, I miss the olden days or no. Nowadays, when people buy cards, they want them as minty as possible. I have plenty of people who reach out to me and ask me for, like, you know, can I get the best centered card? It's got to look good on the table. You know, I think about it, I'm like, okay, so if I'm playing a game of Magic, let's say it's Commander, let's say it's like Modern, you know, whatever. When someone plays a card, I'm like, oh, you're playing that card. Okay, maybe I need to remember, maybe I need to look it up to see what kind of card it is, look at it, whatever. Nothing in that entire process is, I care about the centering of your card. Right? And we have just gotten to such an insane time where people care so much about, you know, just like like what their cards look like, how they're shipped, like the pristine value. Now, it's not everybody out there, but there's an increasing amount of population that cares about so many of these things that we didn't give a shit about during this era. And it's so freeing to remember that no one gave a shit during this time of era. And now we're in this insane time, which, you know, I've heard from a lot of people that say doing this nowadays is not worth it because they remember what it was like back then. Nowadays, the buyer is entitled. The buyer needs every specific thing done right? And part of that is the millennial age. You know, this huge war that we have between the millennials and the boomers, the new age, the old age. And like being able to have a voice, right? All these different genders that people want to claim they are, or, you know, different kind of diversity type of conversations. You know, we're not going to get too much into it. That's not what this video is about. It's about just the way that people are perceiving and demanding and wanting, right? And in a way, that's a beautiful thing because you're having a voice, right? And you're sharing a need. The problem, though, is that we're straying too far into the boundary and we're getting into this place where people are just kind of sounding really needy, right? And their perspectives are off. Like the message I gave to that buyer was, no, sending a 10-cent card with tracking does not make financial sense. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know if you're here to scam me or if you just have no idea and you're just oblivious to life. So I'm letting you know my perspective, you know? Like, I'm not going to just assume you're stealing from me. I'm going to share some information with you. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, we have come so far from 30 years ago. And then you can make the argument like 30 years before the 90s was the 60s. So obviously you came very far. Every 30 years, you're going to come very far, right? Like in 2025, the world's going to be different in freaking 2055, okay? I think we can all agree on that. We're probably going to have flying cars, and then sex robots have taken over and there's no more women in the world. And then that's what the world's going to look like, right? That's why I say guys on my video, because I'm prepping for there being no women in the world, okay? Kidding. I say guys because it's just like this in my brain. It just it's kind of like when someone sneezes and you're like, bless you, but you have no idea what that means, you know, because it was like literally from Black Plague era. I understand. You're not all guys. It's going to take me time to fix that way of like talking, right? You all, maybe that's what I can say. I may screw it up like 30 times before I figure it out. So I got thinking about it. Now, there are pros and cons to both generation. And I'm not going to do like the old guy speech of like, oh, back in my day. It's not about that. Here's what I realized is happening. And this is my hot take on the world. Okay? All this crazy stuff that we're seeing like on the internet, the firing back, the volatility, crazy prices, pristine things, literally with booster boxes now. People are like, oh, there's a dent. I want $50 off. It's like, what? What are you talking about? It's a booster box. It has packs in it. The packs are just fine, right? Here's my hot take. Is that it's all about image, right? So like, for example, the one or two people that watch me, if you've even made it this far in the video, I am like a two-dimensional image in front of you, right? And what you see on the camera is an illusion that I'm putting in front of you. Who I am, you have no idea. All you're seeing is an image. And it's gotten more rampant with YouTube and all these videos that people put out there, like some big names, and people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to listen to them. I've fallen for it too. And then the next person comes out and starts battling the first person, becomes this war, and then you have the sides of the people and they start fighting, and next thing you know, you got blues and reds and everybody wants to kill each other over their beliefs. I just made that scenario up. I don't think that's a real scenario. And people forget like how special things are because it's all about image. It's all about like how I look in front of you, the lighting, the angles, what are you putting in your background, you know? Like everybody cares about just like what things look like. Let's take a second and just like stare at the wall. And if we look long enough and we let our eyes relax, we start to see the numbers streaming down the wall. The green numbers streaming down the wall. The green numbers streaming down the video as you watch me. I'm going to go out here on a limb on this video and make opinions and do my own thing and put my face out there and just talk about stuff. And like I said in multiple videos before, I bet 100% of the people out there won't guess why I do these videos. But to you, you're taking this in, right? And so you have like these two kind of concepts, right? Number one, either what I'm doing or what I'm saying or any kind of opinion is fake, right? Or number two, you're perceiving that it's fake. Fake or real, you know? There's really two perspectives. Either what I'm doing is fake or what you're perceiving is fake. And people need to really like spend time to kind of like realize those kind of things. When you place a card on the table and I'm playing you, I'm not looking at the centering. I don't give a shit. So is it that people want it for themselves? So if they want it for themselves, that's because they care about their image. It's all about image. But all this is fake, right? Me talking to you like this, it's just my life. And if you're not strong enough to challenge what I say, to think for yourself, right? And to live your own life, and you just like fall for everything I say, well, you're not really living your own life. You're just like living like this weird reality that's mine and not yours. I'm getting kind of into the weeds here. I think the main problem that the world is having right now is image. And this is kind of like the point of this video. Through maybe a Vogue magazine, right? Where you see all the pretty hot ladies wearing great dresses, you know, and it's just this perfect image. But in all reality, we don't know what that person went through. The thousands of pictures that they had to sit there and keep the same smile on the face or whatever the hell they're doing over and over and over and over again. You know? The fact that they can't eat anything that's good, you're like eating a carrot a day just to keep your figure. Who knows? Maybe that woman, like their husband beats them at home, or they've just gotten into a crazy car accident, or literally their kids hate them. You know, we don't know. We just see the image. Just like you're seeing the image here. And there are so many YouTube videos, and I'm like, I spend so much time on YouTube. But so does everyone else. And heck, look at like TikTok or Instagram. You know how many people spend time on there? It's absolutely insane. The time that is spent on these things, watching perfect images in front of them. And so it's rewiring everybody's brain to think about image. Why people want pristine cards or them to be protected so well or whatever. Because the world is being driven into this place of getting a perfect image. And the problem is, when you see someone with a perfect image, you do not understand the struggle behind it. And it becomes invisible. And so when somebody makes a mistake or when somebody struggles, they get made fun of, they get attacked, slandered on the internet. Nowadays, you know, if someone drives like a nut on the highway, literally like 4 million people are gonna see it, you know? It's just such an insane time. And so you have to stop and really think about what you're doing right now. Close your eyes for a second while I yell at your face. And relax and breathe through this. The world is a chaotic place. The world will pressurize you and crush you into a little ball. And if you cannot just manage that and sit down and meditate while I'm yelling at you on the camera, then you are going to fall for every single trap that's coming for you. You have to relax and you have to remember the different things that are special to you in your background and keep it around you and not worry about your image. Yeah, I have a receding hairline. Yeah, my hair looks stupid. Sometimes I'm unshaven. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't really care what you have to say about that because I'm living my own reality. And what you're saying to me sounds fake. It sounds like you're lost in this murky place where it's just completely quiet and like there's steam everywhere. I can't see you. I can't see you. There's way too many sex robots. They're just hanging out and I'm like, where's the humans? It's just this crazy place that we're in where literally everybody's caught up in the voice that I'm doing right now and they're forgetting to breathe and go through the flow and just relax for a bit. Because life is not all about the news and the shit that's being yelled at you. It's about the meditation and the growth within. It is about the relaxation, the focus of inside here. All of us literally are born, a bunch of shit happens, and then we die. And if you're going to be a slave to algorithms and all these things that are getting thrown at you and beating at you like my yelling voice, you are going to be lost. And you're going to need a reminder like this. I don't believe that it's not worth it to sell cards or boxes anymore. I believe it's still worth it. There are pros and cons. One of the cons is you definitely deal with a lot more entitlement. And it's based off of image. So if anything, taints your image, you're going to get slaughtered for a few seconds and then it's over. This whole game that we're playing is about what goes on within. Not about the exterior and all the flashy things that happen. If you are not strong enough to come up with your own opinion, listen to me yell on the camera and actually stay in like a non-volatile state, then you probably shouldn't be here. Even as a player, things are going to change. I had a conversation with someone recently who was labeling out all the different sets that Magic has been screwing up. And I get it. Bagels on towers. We have, cities in the artwork or whatever, the rushed sets. And now we got this whole parachute thing, right? By the way, it's funny with like Hasbro. So Hasbro just had the greatest lawsuit that we've seen ever with the company. And the stock went up 10% the next week. And then 10% the week after that. It's all fugazi. You have to learn to make your own opinion. And that's why they say time in markets will beat time in the market, because you spend the time to learn and you become better. You make a ton of mistakes at first. It's inevitable. But I'm listening to this person talking about all these sets. And, the whole time I was like, I get what you're saying. And I understand. I wouldn't like seeing Dwight Schrute show up on a card, on the table. But the problem is that you are wrapped up in negativity. That's the real issue here. Yes, we have the right to complain, to put out a voice and things like that. But I did not hear once that person tell me the sets that are really good, that Magic has done well. It was all negativity, negativity, negativity. And I understand negativity has a place. But if you're wrapped up and stuck in it because of what you're seeing or what you're hearing, you're going to be lost. If you're wrapped up in positivity because of what you're seeing or what you're hearing, you're going to be lost. You have to somehow train your brain to look at things, comprehend them, and understand them at a level that's safe, right? Excited, maybe skeptical, whatever, kind of word you want to come up with. But you have to come up with it yourself, and you're going to make mistakes. Sit through the mistake. Let it happen. Grow from it. And try your hardest not to hurt other people, I guess is my last piece. I don't know if I hammered the point home or if I just ranted at you guys. But you have to find meditation through the noise. And in the end, image doesn't matter because we're all going to be old and we're going to die. That happens to all of us. Well, I mean, we don't all get old, but we're all going to die. The image goes out the window. Nothing fucking matters in the end. So I just look at this and smile. Enjoy your day.